Hey guys, and welcome to a new World of Tanks gameplay video. And today I'm making my first video of the Lorraine 155-51, the French Tier 7 RT, and it's one of my favorite RTs in the game. It has some drawbacks, which is it's quite low on damage compared to other Tier 7 RTs. It only has a 155mm cannon, which does an average high explosive damage of 1250, and it also it doesn't have the best gun depression, which means it's quite difficult to shotgun low silhouette targets like T-54s, T-62s, etc. But what you get in exchange for those drawbacks is so much. You get, of course, the rate of fire that comes with a smaller caliber gun, and the accuracy as well. But one of the biggest advantages of this art is the sheer mobility. It's the fastest. Well, it's not maybe the fastest straight line speed RT in the game, but it's more maneuverable than a batchet RT, and that's why it's so often used in 7 versus 7 ESL games against, because against tier 8 heavies, the low damage is really not that much of a drawback, and much more important is the rate of fire and the accuracy and the mobility. So yeah, what's going on? We're on Serene coast, starting from north side. Just not relocating yet. I'm just taking some early spots here. I'm trying to shoot, blind shooting, trying out my luck on this T-54 there. Because of course nobody was getting spotted in G2 yet, because we have no scouts and our heavies were kind of slow there, kind of hesitating. Tiger 2, of course, he gets spotted here. So I'm trying to blind shoot him. Let's see how that goes, and it is a direct hit, which is quite lucky. It's quite hard to blind shoot moving targets, when they are unspotted for 4 seconds. There's always a bit of luck involved when playing RT. Because, even if you aim perfectly, you still need to be a bit lucky to have your shells land where you're aiming. Maybe I can say something about what's going on in these last 5 days. Apparently there's some holiday going on, and so I mean, I'm just doing daily doubles right now, maybe 3, 4, maybe 5 battles a day, just because of the randoms. I don't want to rage quit again. I'm just playing until it becomes unbearable, and I'm just quitting. I'll give you a nice example of the kind of people I've been the kind of teammates that I've been getting in randoms in the last couple of days. I think it was 2 days ago. I was on I don't even remember what map it was, but some guy on our team, KB4, he sat in base doing nothing. He wasn't a bot because he was moving and he was talking, but he was just driving circles in our base. And I asked him, what the fuck are you doing? You're just screwing over the team. Go out and at least try to do something. Even just two-side rushing is better than what you're doing right now. And he just gave me all sort of shit, PTS noob plan, shut the fuck up, noob, stuff like that. And then I argued with him a bit. Well, it wasn't really an arguing; it was just insulting each other. And then he asked me, "Why do you care about how I play?" And that sort of stuff really enrages me. I mean, seriously, what a fucking muppet. Of course I care about how the rest of my team plays. It's a fucking team game. That kind of attitude I really cannot stand, and I don't have time for people for people like that. And I mean, frankly, the world would be better off without people like that. Without wanting to sound like a fascist or something. But it's just not that one game, not just that one game. It's in this game as well. You can see there's this E100 here on our team, and he's kind of telling us what to do. He's bossing people around, giving orders. He's telling RT to shoot something. Noob RT, stupid RT. And well, you can see I'm shooting stuff. They can't see it because I'm mainly blind shooting stuff. But you will see in the end of the battle, when I show you the after battle report, that E100, who's now insulting us for you know, telling us that the RT is stupid and useless, he will die in this battle without doing any damage at all, without doing any damage upon spotting, without any kills. This is the kind of people who tell other people that they are noobs. I mean, please just shut the fuck up. And you see, we don't have any scouts or fast tanks, so I really have no other choice but to just guess where the enemy is and blind shooting them. Of course, there aren't many spots in B1 where you can hide with a tank. There's only so many bushes, and so I'm just shooting all the obvious spots, behind the bushes. Where I usually go in a medium there. Um, of course, when there's a good RT player on the enemy team, and nobody on your team is getting spotted, and you're not getting spotted, you kind of it's not a bad idea it's not a good idea to be in the best spots, because those best spots are always as well the most obvious spots. And so if the enemy RT is quite smart or experienced, they can just blind shoot you. So sometimes it's better to be in a not so good spot when you're not spotted anyway, because then you won't get blind shot. So it's kind of it's that just comes with experience, just figuring that out, where you have to be in to be RT safe in different situations. Sometimes it is indeed best thing to do is to be in the open, as long as you're not getting spotted, because that's where the enemy least expects you to be. GW Tiger is telling me don't shoot blind. I am shooting blind, and I'm doing much more damage than him. And on this, maybe I can talk a bit about positioning on this map. Yeah, here is this T62A. He's blasting through, and he's trying to go for our RT, and it's a random team, so there's a good chance he will just get through and people will ignore him. So I didn't have time to aim, so I kind of shot on luck, and then maybe I would be lucky enough to hit him. Of course, it didn't hit. You could see that. But sometimes it's worth taking the risk, especially when you're shooting in a high rate of fire RT like this. But let's talk a bit about positioning. I'm right now just standing in C8 here. There's a couple of good spots on this map for RT to go. The another is A4, A5, that area. Of course, I'm not gonna go there because we don't. There's still enemies in B1, and if they push, you will lose your RT. This is a noob shot. I kind of underestimated my own shell velocity. Maybe was a bit unlucky. Otherwise, that IS-4 would have been dead. Another good spot is of course the island E9, but I usually don't advise you going there in the beginning of a battle, because you easily get spotted there from across the water. And here again, this is a noob shot. I really overestimate my own shell velocity, and that should have been a direct hit, but I'm not a dedicated RT player, and I don't practice playing RT. I just do daily doubles on it because of those texture bugs that I've been going on about. I just cannot play RT in important battles, so I see absolutely no reason to actually practice it. But if you want to become a good RT player, you should really practice, just to get familiar with your shell velocity. Just to be able to instinctively calculate where you have to aim to hit a moving target, because that is something that you really need to keep practicing. You do unlearn that, because it's all about the feel. It has to feel natural to you. You cannot. There is no trick to it, I cannot give you any tricks of how to do that. You just have to feel it and be able to do that without thinking, which is something that I'm not very good at this point. I actually used to be more of an RT player before, but ever since the 8.0 patch with the texture bugs, I cannot play them in important battles anyway, so I kind of moved over to being more of a heavy player, which is the only class of tank that I can play without being bothered by FPS drops and all of those problems. see, this is what I mean when I say I'm kind of low on damage. 278 damage on a T-54. That's not a lot. And you can see our their 10s. We have an I-7 in F8. It's not a bad spot, but it's not a good spot for an I-7. The I-7 is a brawler tank, and he's sniping with it, which is a bad idea. And he's not even doing it right. Look, he's just exposing himself. He's getting shot, getting killed for nothing at all. I saw a tracer coming from here, so I'm expecting this I-7 to be here, but it's kind of weird that he's not getting spotted by our E5. So yeah. I'm just trying to do what I can as an RT, but of course as an RT you're really dependent on your team. You know, often when you see people on your team saying RT sucks, a lot of the time RT does suck, but sometimes, I mean, if the enemy RT does 12 kills and your RT does only 2 or 3, it could also be down to your heavies. If the enemy heavies are all RT safe, waiting defensively, just for your team to make mistakes, and your heavies take the bait and fall into that trap and move in the open, they will get obliterated by RT. And they will shit on you. Why is our RT not doing anything? Well, it's because you're just attacking headless, brainlessly into the enemy positions, and they are all RT safe, and you guys are not. That's why the enemy RT is so much more effective. People need to really learn how to use the RT on their team. You know, you cannot expect to just do your thing in RT battles like this with heavy RT, lots of heavy RT. You cannot just do your thing and expect your RT to just support you and follow you and help you. You really need to work together with your RT and communicate with them and you know, tell them where to aim, so that, you know, when you're spotting, the RT will already be aimed there on that spot and will be able to damage stuff. You need to give your RT time to reload and to relocate. It's all down to just working together with your RT, and people rather nowadays, they just rather you not exist. They would just rather pretend that RT doesn't exist, and they just ignore both the enemy RT and the RT on their team. And it's sad, because whether you like it or not, RT is a part of the game. Deal with it. And ignoring them is really not gonna make them go away. And here our guys are pushing now, but they're doing it wrong. They're pushing in the open. They're not pushing from cover to cover. So they're just getting killed one by one. And this is also a noob shot. I should have taken more time to aim properly, instead of just shooting and hoping we get a direct hit. But it didn't matter, because I knew that other artists would be aimed here as well. And I also knew that I wouldn't be able to hit that IS-7 just by looking on the minimap. He's just behind that rock. You can see it's. And also I can take on an IS-7. You can easily take on an IS-7 with 4 RTs. You know, just one RT spot, the other 3 fire. It's very easy, but it's not easy when there's our enemy RT alive to counter you. So it just comes down to you know, prioritizing the right target. And here I'm hiding behind the church for a second before, you know, after moving into a better position, because I don't have 6th sense on this RT yet, so I don't know if I'm spotted. So I'm just staying here for a couple more seconds just to make sure that I'm unspotted when I move out to get a shot on that I-7. And this is why at this point in the battle, this is a good spot here behind the church, because you can really easily intercept all these heavies, or this I-7 who moves through the village, where if you're in A6 or 7 or you know, D9 where that other RT is, you cannot hit there. But from here you can. But it's not a good position to go in the beginning of the battle, because you do get easily spotted from across the water or from scouts rushing in. But that of course all comes down to just relocating at the right time to the right positions. And at this point I know it's going to be a draw, because we can't see the clock here, because the replays don't show them for some reason. It's a bug. But at this point there's about 40 seconds left or something, so I'm just trying to do some more damage, and I'm going behind this bush to spot the E75, which I think is maybe coming here in E6, 7. Apparently he's not. Maybe he's standing in base, I don't know at this point. But of course there he is, and all I can do now, I cannot help RGW Panther, and I don't have the time to relocate to a better position. So the game is over, it's a draw. I cannot help RGW Panther anymore, I can just watch how he gets rammed to death. And there we go. And look at our heavies. Pause the video at this point and look how much damage our heavies and our mediums did. And they were complaining about the RT doing nothing, but I mean, you can see the damage that we did. The other two RTs as well did really good jobs. DW Panther a bit less, but I mean, it's really not down to the RT that we lost this battle, seriously. But what was I else going to? Oh yeah, here's a screenshot of what I'm talking about when I say texture bug. It's a particular square on the map, like you see on a minimap. For example, here is D7. And this was this battle on the Super 6 Cup against 1PAX, which was an important battle. And the only tank I could play was a Bison, because it was the only tank in my garage that we needed at this point. And all these KV-1Ss were lined up in the open for me, but I could not shoot them, because what this bug does is, this square, you cannot hover your reticle over it. It doesn't work for some reason. It just blocks your reticle from hovering over that part of the map. And so you cannot shoot there, which is really annoying. Also, when you're playing with a normal tank, there's no objects, so you don't know if the enemy is standing behind something, and then you don't know if you're able to shoot them or not. But in heavy, it's just adapting to it. But in an RT, it really screws up your gameplay. And if we would have lost this battle, it would have been because of this, because of me in my RT. And this is exactly why I don't play RT in important battles. So I really need a new computer. I can deal with the FPS problems, but this is just too much. So anyway, thank you for watching, and I hope you enjoyed it, and I'll see you guys in the next battle.